Hello everyone, XPGamesNL here, and welcome back to a special kind of video. Today I will be showing off the process of how I'm going to make the 2 Hour Blitz entry that I'm going to do for the 2 Hour Blitz. I just want to show off what exactly I'm going to do and how it's going to turn out. So basically, for those of you who are not aware what the 2 Hour Blitz is, the 2 Hour Blitz is an event or like a little thingy hosted by Vesly on FEUniverse. Can check the link in the description as well as I'll put it in the comments. It's basically a challenge where you go and create a ROM hack in 2 hours. So I kinda thought, why not show off the entire process, since this channel is revolving around a lot of stuff that has to do with FE Builder in general. So why don't I show you guys how you can actually make quite a decent ROM hack within 2 hours. So this is the page of the 2 Hour Blitz. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Vesly. Vesly, if you're watching this video, thank you very much for hosting the 2 Hour Blitz. It's a nice little challenge, as well as it keeps pushing people to making their own ROM hacks and getting the feedback that they will most likely want and maybe sometimes even need to improve. And it's a nice challenge to do it with the 2 Hour Blitz because it also helps you focus on your priorities. I will put Vesly's channel in the description. Be sure to check him out. He makes some really good stuff with FE Builder too. He does some really good videos with it. You should definitely check it out. He also plays a lot of ROM hacks, so I can definitely recommend watching some of Vesly's stuff. But for now, we have the 2 Hour Blitz. We have to start with vanilla FE. This is the rule set, guys. I gotta keep myself on the rule set. This man, he's actually created a chapter in 14 minutes. Now, I can't do that. I'm not a speedrunner like Vesly, but I can make one in 2 hours, or at least that's what we're going to try. We start with vanilla FE. We create a chapter, a single chapter. I have 2 hours. Yeah, Vesly tells us that we might have more, but that would be cheating, and I don't like cheaters. Use community free to use assets, so we're going to use, I want to make a sequel or like a chapter 2 for the Sacred MacGuffin, a chapter or slash ROM hack that I made for the very first 1 Hour Blitz I participated in. I kind of wanted to make a sequel for that, so you have to, since we start in vanilla FE, we'll have to dive into the old Sacred MacGuffin. I will be using a lot of community-free assets, though. I've been thinking the past few days over exactly what I wanted to do. So we're going to do that. Draft your chapter by 70 minutes, playtest it at 100 minutes, and fast forward. So 20 minutes of playtesting. The Sacred MacGuffin was rather balanced. Now, this is 120 minutes. Draft the chapter. I'm just going to see where I end up. This is also FE Builder tutorial. As I said, Vesly makes some amazing stuff. Check that out. We have a map creator, a maps repo, portraits repo, music repo. I have that installed locally. That's also a good and nice thing. If you have GitHub, you can actually download the repository of like the music and the graphics. You can all download it via GitHub. So that's really, really nice. Describe how the session went. Now, I'm literally doing that right now, so that's kind of nice. I will also explain a little bit when I post it. Include how much time you spend. We have the timer for that. Write a list of credits, of course, the most important part besides the file. Top voted as one house favorite. I actually ranked pretty decently last time. But of course, we're doing this for fun. We're not doing this for the rewards. First place would be nice, but you know, fast as any percent. Yeah, I'm sorry, but Vesly, this is already yours. You see, you've created a chapter in 14 minutes. We're doing 2 hours. That's not fair. Probably crappiest hack. I could make one in a minute, but nothing changed. The real reward was the friends, the chapter you made along the way. That's nice. 2 hours from read quickly. Nah, we have November 30th, so 2 hours in the period between that. That's yeah. Don't want to do this. Oh hey, it's me. Hi. On your mark, pick. Oh, this is hard actually. I'll pick the finish flag. We're supposed to be done as quickly as possible, so that's why I picked the finish flag. We'll pick the finish flag. Okay. Anyway, that is basically the gist of it. This was a little introduction. Now let's get to the ROM. Where's my screen? Alright, so Vesly told us that we can cheat. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab the map editor and we're gonna make ourselves a nice little fancy map right here. Couple of things that stand out on me making this map right here. The most important things about this map is the fact that I sort of did not want it to be a square. If you're new to map designing, I highly recommend you kind of try to play around with not making the map too much of a square. Like what I'm doing, I'm adding like water to the top left and making some impassable terrain on some locations, and everything that looks a little bit too blocky or squarey to me, I kind of add some curve or some more natural shapes, simply because making a map one big square, that doesn't play really well as it doesn't look as appealing. So that is why I decided to sort of add some natural shapes, some more rounding to the map. And what I also do is what I do mostly when I make a map is I decide where I want the most important objects on the map to be. For this instance, I decided that I wanted the inn and some houses, and I started figuring out, okay, where do I want to put these? And that is the first thing I do, because you should kind of make your map, you should build your map around the map objects and not the other way around. Because otherwise it will just, yeah, it doesn't match up. Because you're building around the most important gameplay objectives with your map, other than just making the map and putting the gameplay objectives in there. So what you want to do is, for an example, when you make like an indoor map, you want to first throw in the the treasure rooms and the throne room, some important other rooms like a big hallway or a big corridor. And then you will start adding, once you've done that, you can connect all of these little parts with walls, and you can add some pillars in for some extra terrain. That is basically the most important thing when it comes to map making. Make your objects the most important parts of the map. You should do those first, and then you can move on. And lastly, I divided this map into 3 sections. As you can see, I have a top, middle, and bottom. I always like to do this simply because you kind of get a feeling of progression. Not only that, it's also clear at what stage of the chapter you're in. If you're at the top, for an example, this chapter, you'll know that you're at the finish, and it sort of gives a nice feeling of progression, as well as it splits the map into different parts. And yeah, that is kind of a thing that I really like about some maps and some chapters, is when it's split into a couple of parts, simply so you know what you're up against, and it just makes it more fun to progress through all of the stages of the map. So yeah, that is actually how I came to this map, and some general things I do when it comes to map design. Let's get back to the rest of the process, shall we? Alright, so the map has been made. As you can see, the map is now finished. We still need to add a couple of things to the map though, such as enemies, and the rest that will happen later. As of now, the only thing we really have to do is get the rest of the resources in, and then we'll be ready, set to go. So yeah, let's go do that. So the map is set, everything is done. We're ready to start the time and ready to count down. So I will start the timer, and then we'll have 2 hours to make a ROM hack. Let's hope this ends well. Starting in 3, 2, 1. One thing to note immediately about me going into the item editors, that I kind of wanted the Richter to revolve around the vampire killer. Basically the only item in the game, or one of the items in the game, that makes Richter such a good unit. It's effective against monsters, should be a pretty powerful weapon, because it's a pretty powerful weapon in the Castlevania franchise itself. That is why I immediately decided to sort of throw the vampire killer in. Aside from that, we also have Richter himself. You will see me dive into the character creator in just a bit. The thing I wanted to do with Richter is wanted to make him the sort of the Jagan. I'm planning to build on to keep going with this little hack thingy that I have going on, this little mini-series for every single Make a Fun chapter and every single 1 hour / 2 hour blitz. I kind of wanted to make like a sort of story, and then maybe later combine them into one big hack. So that was kind of what I was trying to do here, kind of making Richter a Jagan, as well as just a better unit overall. And I kind of wanted Richter also to be a unit that could carry the chapter on his own. Since he is a vampire and monster hunter after all, it should be possible for him to carry the entire level on his own. He hunts monsters for as his job. So yeah, and I'm just making the paladin, finishing things up. So that is actually what I did. Oh, and I added music, but you'll see the results later. Right now, we're actually 20 minutes in, which means that we're almost on a quarter of the challenge, the 2 hour blitz. What I've done so far, to give you guys an update, I have added Richter Belmont to the ROM. Where is he? There he is. There's Richter. I've added him to the ROM, and I've given him a class and even a position even on the tavern, which will be important for the story in a bit. I need to add one more character, one more playable character, which I will do just in a bit. I've also imported the music. So yeah, that is actually everything that I've done so far. Let's get on with the rest, shall we? I'll start the timer in just a second, and then we'll continue what we were doing. I'm excited. Okay, so right now, as you can see, maybe it's a little bit small. I have actually done something with the units right here. I have sort of gotten the preparations in. Yeah, that's the one thing I did. I should actually increase the levels of these guys. I should actually... they're a little bit too weak, I think. Well, we can test that in a bit. But anyway, I added these, the characters, I added the enemies to the map. Now the only thing that remains is sort of getting the music in place. We need to test the map, see if it works. We need to add the villages and the doors. And finally, after that is done, we need to do some dialogue and event stuff. So yeah, nothing too much that we cannot handle. We have, right here, the timer. We're at 41 minutes and 48 seconds, which means that we're roughly around halfway. So it's still possible to get in what I want to get in. We'll have to do some turn events too, because I'm planning on doing some events on certain turns. So let's get that done as well, shall we? I think I'm gonna start with that, and after that, the talk conversation. And after that is done, we'll move on, and yeah, we'll get ourselves some nice hack. So what I'm doing right here is actually I'm adding in a couple of talk thingies. First up, I needed to sort of make Quilana a recruitable character. That is why I'm editing the dialogue here, so that it matches Quilana, because previously it was set to Gwendolyn. Saves also a bit of time, but it's not 100% completely correct if it's only aimed at Gwendolyn and not at Quilana. Next is simply the villages. They need some editing too. There needs to be some talk convos. I grabbed some random portraits from the repo simply because I thought it'd be nice to give these guys a shot. Maybe they do not appear in too much other Rom hacks, and there has been effort put into them. So why not use them? I tried to select some NPCs that made sense. So yeah, I added them in, gave them a little bit of a reason to be here, a little bit of a background to give us the dialogue and the item for the two villages. So that is that. That is what I did right here. And you might notice at the end, and I will say that in a bit, that I ran into an error, which actually I accidentally closed the ROM and I lost most of the changes. So that was nice. Yeah, that is yeah, that was bad. But anyway, that's what I did in this little section right here. Okay everyone, so right now I am at around an hour into the 2 Hour Blitz. I've run into a huge problem, and that was the fact that I accidentally closed the ROM because I wanted to fix a bug. You might have seen that. I do not know if that is completely included in the video, but I actually accidentally yeah, did not save the ROM, so I had to do everything all over again. But since I stopped the timer at the exact time I sort of threw the ROM out of the window, that is when I sort of decided that everything I had done up to that point is still counted within the timer, because it's logical. I did those things in that time that I would otherwise have just lost. So I added that back in. So right now the only couple of things I want to do is I want to still do something with the music. Then I want to do some more enemies, some turn events, and finally, after the boss has been defeated, the chapter will end. So yeah, that's actually everything there is to it. At a certain point, I think I'll spend like 7 turns with spawning enemies and stuff. At a certain point, the enemies will, yeah, they will kind of start moving towards you, you will get the keys to unlock the doors. That is what is going on right now. I still need to do some playtesting, so only the story elements, the music, and the playtesting really remains. And after that, we're kind of done, actually. So, yeah, why don't we get started with that? What you will notice in the footage right now is that the footage is not completely fluent. The recording software had some issues recording whatever I was doing. But, while I got that out of the way, what I'm doing here is basically finishing the rest of what needs to be done. I mentioned that before. I'm still doing a couple of final things, including playtesting, taking a look at if the things in the ROM are working properly, making sure the events are working. Also taking a look at the AI of Quailana was a thing that I did in the end, because I wanted to make sure that Quailana would move towards, towards the player characters at a certain point. But, yeah, that was kind of what I was doing right there, being able to finish a couple of things up. I do not know specifically what I was doing again. I was busy setting the enemies, setting their equipment, doing a couple of things with that. That was mostly what I was doing, making sure the enemies reacted properly on the map, setting a couple of things, making sure the doors were working. That was also a thing. And yeah, mostly just playtesting. And in this playtesting, I kind of found out that a lot of things with the playtesting, when playtesting, what I always like to do is for every single door I have, for every single breakable wall, for every single thing in the map you can interact with, make sure that you trigger it once to see if it properly works. Even if you think by yourself, I've set this properly, always be sure to double check, because sometimes things might go wrong or things look different in FE Builder than you originally expected, and then in the ROM they turn out differently. As well as try to defeat every single enemy on the map, and just try to look at the balancing of a map. Balancing is usually an issue with ROM hacks, because it's kind of hard to balance a ROM hack in the end. Mainly because balance is very specific most of the times. Everyone has a unique playstyle, and so balance can be a big problem. If someone tackles the chapter differently, they might make it too hard or too easy for themselves, which is why balance is kind of a thing. If you see the chapter as a puzzle, you need to have multiple solutions as well as multiple difficult parts about the puzzle. That is how I approach playtesting as well as balance, and overall, yeah, I think the result looked pretty nice. I was checking the dialogue as well and looking for grammar errors and things like that in the dialogue, but in the end, it turned out quite nice. So yeah, that was kind of that. This is the final piece and the final bit of footage, and then the ROM hack will be finished. Nice. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is that. As you can see on screen right now is the final version of the Town of Neron, the hack I made for the 2 Hour Blitz. It was done with around half a minute remaining, but I clicked away the timer, and the recording software kinda screwed me over, so you have to believe and trust me that I had a half a minute left and that I did spend only 2 hours on it. You might be able to see it in the footage, but then again, the footage and the streaming software, they both are scuffed. They didn't really do that well of a job of really recording the last few pieces of stuff. But yeah, I booked it through an entire hour, and that is this is actually what we ended up with. So that is that. You can play this hack. There will be a link to FEUniverse in the description, as well as in the comment section, or just in the description. There will also be a link to the patch, so you can apply it to ROM and play it yourself. With that being said, I want to thank you for watching. I hope you played this hack and enjoyed the little insight I gave inside the ROM hacking process, how I make my ROM hacks. I want to once again give a huge shout out to Vesly for hosting this thing. I want to give a shout out to all the people who had the graphics and stuff ready. So all the people you see portraits and music of in the video or in the ROM hack, I will give a shout out to them too. The credits will be on FEUniverse as well. So, yeah, with all of that being said, I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to press the thumbs up button, the like button if you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment if I should do more of this insight thingy, and if you want me to sort of record the progress of making my own Fire Emblem hack. That is actually that. With that being said, be sure to subscribe and stick around for more content like this, and if you want more content for FE Builder and it's on the way, then you will be immediately notified if you also ring the bell. And yeah, that is that. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye-bye.